Of all the beers that I've brewed by now, some of my favorites were from back in my extract days. I don't know if that's because of the simplicity of the process, but what I do know is I really want to recreate some of that magic. What's up everybody, Just Brewing here. Welcome back to the home brewery for another grain to glass video. Today we're going to rebrew what I think was my third or fourth beer ever. We're going to be brewing a honey blonde, but instead of on the stove in a small kettle with extract, we're going to do a distinguished, advanced home brewer, electric, all grain brew. If that's the kind of stuff that you like to see, definitely like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support me and the channel, you can visit justbrewing.com where you can donate to me directly, and you can pick up merch just like this where all merch proceeds are going to go to charity. Before we get into brew day, I do want to mention some of the equipment that I use in this brew day isn't the same that I used in last brew day or the brew day before that. Mostly because I want to try a few different things with my equipment. I'm trying to make better, more efficient beer. And a way to do that is to test things and dial in the system. So bear with me while I do that. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Brew day starts with a nice double crush of my grains. On screen now is the grain bill, but feel free to click the link in the description if you want to see the specifics about this recipe. We're going to mash for 1 hour at 149. After that 1 hour, I yank the grains, get it to a boil, and add half an ounce of cluster. This is only a 30-minute boil, so it should be a short one. About halfway through the boil, I transfer out some wort into a smaller kettle and add 1 pound of raw honey to it. This is local honey, and I'm adding it into a separate kettle just to make sure that I'm not scorching anything with the burner on. After it's nice and mixed in, I add it back into the big kettle, and I'm also going to be adding the final 10-minute hop addition, the other half ounce of cluster. After it's chilled down, I get it into a sanitized fermenter, and I'm going to be pitching 1 package of Y Yeast 1056 American Ale yeast. Very simple, very easy yeast. I've used it in the past. I don't have a starter, and I don't plan on making one here, mostly because I don't need this yeast again. So I just pitch it right in. I expect it to take a little bit longer than normal since I'm not using a starter. I expect this to ferment in about 2 weeks at 68 degrees. Once it's done, I keg it, carb it, and get it ready for the tasting. And just like that, we have in a glass the Honey Blonde Ale 2.0. On the color, this is spot on for a blonde ale. It looks about how it's supposed to, and in the light, it just shines. It's a soft golden color, and it's pretty clear now that it's had some time to cold crash and sit in the keg a little bit. On the mouthfeel, I did want to go for a little bit more balanced of a mouthfeel. I didn't want it to be too soft. I figured the honey, the sweetness was gonna help with that. And I didn't want it to be too dry because I wanted the honey to shine. And I think we did strike a really nice balance on the mouthfeel, and the honey does come through. That is the biggest flavor that you get out of this. Other than that, there's just some other like light lemon or like lemon zest kind of flavors, just a touch of like pepperiness. And that might be from the hop, but all in all, this is exactly how I wanted it to turn out, which doesn't always happen. So I'm really happy with the final product. I'm glad that I bottled some of this off, mostly so that I can try this in a few weeks, in a few months to see if it continues getting better. I do wish that I had some from, my first beer, but this doesn't happen around here. When it does go into a bottle, sometimes it does sit, but oftentimes when we go out, I'll just take a 6-pack of what I have on hand opposed to stopping by a gas station or buying beer elsewhere. Having revisited one of the first beers that I ever brewed, it really gave me a chance to reflect and be grateful for the nice stuff that I have now. When I first started, it was just a couple buckets and a kettle. A lot of people out there start this way. If you're watching this, you may have. But it's nice being able to look back and take advantage of the electric system that I have now, the 3-vessel system that I have now. I could brew up to 15 gallons if I so choose. I have a fermentation chamber. I have a 4-tap keezer here. I mean, all of this wouldn't be possible if it weren't for my support system. So I'm really grateful for that too. My wife for letting me put this keezer in our kitchen. For letting me fill up our garage with all this stuff that I want for a hobby. I'm super grateful. Being able to look back is always a good thing. And I'm thankful for people like you too, for watching this video. You watching this video, people watching this video makes it easier for me to brew and produce more beer and more videos. If you're still watching, I want to say thanks. I know this is a bit abrupt to end the video like this, but About 2/3 into shooting for this video, my mic died. Being a one-person operation, these things are bound to happen, but I didn't want to scrap the video. I figured there was still enough to talk about the beer itself and how grateful I am to have grown this much over the last few years. Next time, I'll make sure that my microphones are charged. Thanks for viewing Just Brewing. Already chugged the beer though.